Hey guys, Big Boy Reviews here. Now today we are going to do a re-review on one of my favorite books of all time. God, I love this book to death. Stephen King's The Long Walk. Now I read this book almost exactly a year ago today, and I loved it. My first experience with this book was the most gripping experience I've ever had with a book. I literally flew right through it. I could not stop myself from turning the pages. It was the most intriguing experience with the book I have ever had in my life.
So this was the very first review that I watched after listening to The Long Walk on Audible. And I figured since this guy loves the book so much that everything he says is true. But as I'm listening to his review, I'm thinking, that's not right, this is not right. And it got me to re-listen to the book, taking notes over and over. Listening to other reviews, they also got things wrong, and I just wanted to get things right and also find out why people are getting things wrong. Now, one problem, if you've read a book a year ago and you're just now talking about it, you're going to maybe have a vague recollection of the book. So I suspect that was his main problem. It's just been a year since he read the book.
Stephen King actually wrote this book a long time ago underneath the pseudonym Richard Bachman, which I think he has about 5 books underneath that pseudonym.
Actually, there's 7. Rage, The Long Walk, Road Work, The Running Man, Thinner. Those are the 5 people considered, but he also has The Regulators and Blaze under the Richard Bachman name. And people mistakenly say that he wrote the book as Richard Bachman, but in truth, he published it under Richard Bachman, but when he wrote it, he hadn't created the pseudonym yet. So he thought of it like in high school, thought of the concept in like 1965, and then in 66, 67, as a freshman in college, he wrote the book, and he claims that he wrote most of the book in about a space of a week when he got really inspired.
There's this competition held every single year, and it has been for, I don't know, close to 20 when the book actually starts out. It is called The Long Walk. 200 boys actually submit to join this long walk competition, but only 100 are handpicked by this man named The Major. Our main character, Ray Garrity, is one of those that is handpicked.
Actually, we don't know how long the competition has been held. He says 20 years, but there's one excerpt. It says, "We're going to make it into Massachusetts, I think," McVries said sickly. Stebbins nodded. "The first walk to do it in 17 years, they'll go crazy." So we only know that the Long Walk has been around for 17 years, maybe more. Now, he also says 200 boys submit to join the walk, and that 100 are picked by the Major, and Garrity is one that's picked. Here's how it really happens. Most males aged 13 to 18 enter the lottery each year. Only 1 in 50 pass the physical, mental, and essay test, which is about 40,000. 200 are picked in a random lottery by the Major out of a giant drum. There's going to be 100 walkers and 100 backups, but they don't find out until the day before the walk which they are. Now, they can back out April 15th and April 31st, and then the walk is the next day on May 1st.
Here are the rules to the long walk. You must stay above 4 miles an hour, which is a very fast speed walk. The moment you drop below 4 miles an hour, you get a warning. You can get up to 3 warnings, 30 seconds in between each one. Once your 3rd warning runs out, you get your ticket. Alongside the walkers on this huge stretch of road are half-tracks and tanks, armed to the teeth with soldiers and heavy rifles.
He didn't quite describe the rules. He said you must stay above 4 miles per hour. It's actually 4 or greater. And then he says the walkers get a warning when they drop below 4 miles per hour. Not true. He also said once your 3rd warning runs out, maybe it's 30 seconds after your 3rd warning that you get your ticket. So that's correct, but he doesn't really define what run out means. And he does say 30 seconds. So, but here's how it actually works. Each walker has 120-second death timer. when their speed in the correct direction, that's important, correct direction, falls under 4 miles per hour, their death timer counts down. Remember, it starts at 2 minutes or 120 seconds, let's say. They get courtesy warnings, not to be confused with penalty warnings. We'll talk about that in a second. Courtesy warnings when their timer counts down to 90, 60, and 30. That's the first, second, and third warnings. And then when it hits 0, they're shot dead. Now, the correct direction is defined as the directions of the half tracks and parallel to the center line. So that's how you know which direction is correct. For example, if you walked at a 90-degree angle to the center line, like directly at the shoulder, then your speed would be measured at 0 miles per hour, no matter how fast you were going. Because in the correct direction, you're going 0 miles per hour. Now, negative speed, which is walking in the wrong direction, gets you a penalty warning, and that means that your death timer immediately drops to one of the next 4 thresholds: 90, 60, 30, or 0, which is a ticket. Breaking, you can get penalty warnings for breaking other rules, like interfering with other walkers, and if you go off the road, you get your ticket immediately, or if you attack a soldier, there's all kinds of rules that'll get you an immediate ticket as well. And you can get warnings removed if you go an hour without getting a warning, which means your timer gets set back to the next threshold, which is 60, 90, or 120. That's how it works. And by the way, he mentions tanks. Let me just show you the first cover now. That's a tank. It's got treads in the front where half tracks, this is a half track, have wheels up front. So he's saying half tracks and tanks. It never says tanks in the novel. So I think he's just a little confused about that.
We follow about 9 to 10 actual main characters throughout the book. Garrity, like I said,
I wanted to. He says 9 to 10. He's of course approximating. My count for the main characters is 12. Let's count them. Number 1, Raymond Davis Garrity. Number 2, Peter McVries. Number 3, Arthur Baker. Number 4, Henry Olsen. Number 5, Gary Barkovich. Number 6, Stebbins. Number 7, Scram. Number 8, Harkness. Number 9, Pearson. Number 10, Percy. 11, Abraham. And 12, Collie Parker. Now, we could go. There are semi-main characters. For example, Curly. Would you call that a main character? We really don't speak to Curly, but we see him speaking, and there are other characters that speak as well. Let me go through the names. I count 49 characters were actually mentioned. You've got Curly, Ewing, and Zuck, who died pretty much at the start. Bill Huff, Charlie Field, George Fielder, Davidson, Gribble, Larson, Rank. Rank is the one that was trying to attack Barkovich. Mike Joe. Are they main characters? Maybe. Marty Wyman, Aronson, Fenter, Jensen, Klingerman. Now, Klingerman was screaming with the siren when they went into Freeport. Tubbins was mumbling some religious gibberish. Frank Morgan, James Baker was the other Baker. Bruce Pastor, Bobby Sledge, Radican, Toland, Travin, Tressler, Wayne, Quincy or Quentin, didn't quite know the name. Harold Quince, Milligan, Gallant, and then there's characters. There was number 38, number 45. We don't know their name. And then there were 4 other boys mentioned that were not even mentioned by name or number. So 49. Wow. That's it for my review of a review. If you want more of this, then subscribe, and I'll see you later.